Okay, good morning, everyone. We are on Yud Gimel Amud Aleph at the new Mishnah. HaKometz es ha-mincha lechol shi'areh lahaktir kom salamachar moder Rabbi Yossi b'zeh pigul v'chayav and alav kares. So somebody does the kamitza. And when you do the kamitza, you have in mind to eat the leftovers, which is the korban mincha, or lahaktir the komsa tomorrow. Moder Rabbi Yossi b'zeh pigul v'chayav and alav kares. So again, you do the kamitza like this, or sorry, we should say you do it like this. And as you do the kamitza, good morning, thank you again. We started the Mishnah, we just finished everything you did yesterday. So,
good. Now I understand.
We started the new parak. So, HaKometz is a mincha lechol shi'areha olahaktir kom salamachar moder b'yosi b'zeshu pigol v'chayav and alav kares. We're going to catch up on that part tomorrow. So, if you do the kamitza, and at the time that you do the kamitza, you have in mind to eat the korban mincha, lamachar, which is, again, the wrong time, or to burn this komsa that you just took off, lamachar, which is the wrong time. Then everybody agrees, including Rabbi Yossi, that it's pigol, and you ruined everything, and you're chayiv kares, and of course you ruined everything. Lahaktir levanas lamachar. But now, what did you do? You had intention not to burn the kamitza tomorrow, not to eat the mincha tomorrow, which is again this shirayim, which is the thing that's left, but to burn the lavona. Now we said the lavona is on top, you push it aside, and part of the process is after you take off the kamitza, so now you gather the lavona, you also put that seemingly into klisharis, and then you burn that. So have in mind to burn the lavona at the wrong time, so then according to Rabbi Yossi, it's not going to be pigul. Rabbi Yossi mer pasol ve'ein bo kares. It's going to ruin the korban for sure, but there's no kares involved. And Chachamim say it's the same thing as if I had intention to eat the mincha at the wrong time or to burn the kumsa at the wrong time. What's the difference? Amru lo mashina zemin azevach. Why is it different than a zevach? I don't understand. By a zevach, if I shecht, and at the time that I shecht, I have the intention to burn the emor and lamachar, it's pigul. So what's the difference when I shecht and I have the intention to burn the emor and lamachar, and if I do kamitza, and I have the intention to do the burning of the lavona lamachar? What's the difference? Says Rabbi Yossi, what are you talking about? What's the difference? Amar lansha zevach damo b'tzar ve'mor vechad. As we'll see in the Gemara, everything there is one. So you're having intention to do something that's part of this animal wrong tomorrow. It's going to ruin it. I agree it's going to ruin it. At the time that I shech the animal, I have intention to take part of that animal, the emorin, and burn it lamachar. That's going to be a problem. But over here, as we'll see, lavona eina min mincha. When I do the kamitza in the lavona, when I do the kamitza in the mincha, so the lavona is not officially part of the korban mincha. We'll have to see what the Chachamim hold. Chachamim will say, what are you talking about? It's part of one kli. It's in one thing. They're going to say, no, it's two separate entities. You have the lavona on top, which we push aside, and now you have the flour and the oil, which we're going to take a piece from. It's two separate entities. If I have intention during this entity, during the taking of the kamitza, to burn the kamitza at the wrong time, to eat the leftovers at the wrong time, that's going to ruin it. I agree, Rabbi Yossi says. But if I have intention during the kamitza to burn the lavona, which is a separate entity, because again, I'm doing the kamitza, putting it into a klisharis, and I'm gathering the lavona from on top, putting it into a klisharis, and I'm burning both of those. After I burn both of those, I can eat the mincha, and I did everything I needed to do. But if I have intention during the time of the kamitza to do something wrong with the lavona, which is a separate entity, that's not going to make it pigul. It's going to ruin it, but it's not going to make it pigul. That's the yesod of machlokes of Rabbi Yossi. When you have intention during the kamitza to do something wrong with the flour, with the oil, to burn the kamitza, to eat the leftovers, that's a problem. That's going to be pigul. I agree, that ruins it. Everybody agrees. Rabbi Yossi's chiddush is that if I have intention to do something wrong with the lavona, which is a separate entity, during the time of the kamitza, then I'm not going to be over the isra of pigul. That's the yesod of machlokes. That one point. By lavona, when I have the wrong intention, by lavona, pigul by lavona, while I'm doing the kamitza. That's the Gemara. That's what the Mishnah says.
We already had this the other day when we talked about the dam being intrinsic and this is being not intrinsic to the process. We had this, no?
But that wasn't in the context of pigul, though, was it?
No, I'm just saying we had this.
No, with Rabbi Kiva's saying that.
I mean, it wasn't intrinsic. I'm saying there wasn't a discussion of pigul over here. Yeah. It says the Gemara, Lamali lemisna moder Rabbi Yossi bezus. Now the Gemara wants to know what's the chiddush by Rabbi Yossi. It means it's obvious in the Reisha that Rabbi Yossi is going to agree that if you go ahead and have pigul intent while you're going ahead and taking the kamitza, you have intent to burn that kamitza at the wrong time, it's obvious you're going to be over pigul. There's nothing to talk about. Says Gemara, you're right, but you might have made a diak from the seifa. Like we just said, the Rabbi Yossi argues in the seifa, and by the levona says that what? That it's not going to be pigul. So what's the reason for Rabbi Yossi? Again, at first glance, one might have suggested, what's the reason in the seifa for Rabbi Yossi that when I put my hands in to do the kamitza and I have intent to burn the levona at the wrong time, it is pigul? Or it's not pigul, I'm sorry. What do you think the reason was? So what did I explain? I explained outside the reason is because the levona is not part of the animal. That was what he said in the Sefer. But what's the avamina? Before you asked him the question, what could you have said? Says the Gemara, time to Yossi mishum de kasaver ein mefaglin bechatzi matir. You might have thought that the reason is ein mefaglin bechatzi matir vafilu reisha nami kamash malan. The Mishnah teaches us dibaha modeh. And he agrees. Now, what does this mean? Ein befaglin bechatzi matir. It means what might you have thought when you read the Seifa? When you read the Seifa, you realized the following: there are two matirs. A matir means like mutter, permit. So over here means that there are two permitters when it comes to the korban mincha. There's two things that permit you to eat the korban mincha. One thing that permits you to eat the korban mincha is taking the kamitza and ultimately burning the kamitza, right? And the other thing that allows you to eat the korban mincha is taking the levona and ultimately burning the levona. So if I told you in a vacuum that if you go ahead and have the wrong intent during the taking of the kamitza about the levona, that you're going to burn the levona tomorrow, it needs to be burned today. So if I told you that that's a problem but it's not kares, so what would you say? You would say the reason is because you can't have real pigul, i.e. you can't get kares if you only ruin chatzi matir. It means if this is the only thing, if the levona was the only thing making this korban permissible, and I had the wrong intention during the kamitza for the levona, then I would get pigul, for sure. Doesn't matter if it's not part of the thing. But again, this is the havamina. We're going to reject this in a second. But since it's only one of two matirs, I need to take the levona and burn it, and I need to take the kamitza and ultimately burn it. Since it's only one of two matirs, it's called a chatzi matir, and you can't have pigul by a chatzi matir. That's what you might have thought the havamina of the Sefer was. Now, had you thought that, and if that was true, then what would happen in the Reisha? Well, in the Reisha, you're also only having pigul on half a matir. Because what are you doing in the Reisha? In the Reisha, you're taking out the kamitza, and during that process, you're having intent, what? That I'm going to burn that kamitza at the wrong time, l'machar. When I do that, I'm having intent, or wrong intent, only for one of the two matirs, i.e. for the burning of the kamitza, because in my mind, I'm not thinking anything about the levona. Based on what we just said, in the havamina of the Seifa, you would think that in the case of the Reisha, what would happen when I do the kamitza and I have intent to burn the kamitza at the wrong time? Would I get pigul or not? No. It would not be pigul, because I'm only having intent for one of the two matirs. Kamash malan, that the reason for Rabbi Yossi in the Seifa that there's no pigul by levona is not because that it's only one of two matirs. What is it? What we already said, as we'll see. It's because it's not part of the korban, because it's a separate entity. And therefore, it's not that reason. If it's not that reason, then I can still say pigul in the case of the kamitza in the first case, where I have intent while doing the kamitza that I'm going to burn it at the wrong time, even though that's one of two matirs. Being one of two matirs is not a problem. You could still have pigul even when you have the wrong intention by one of two matirs. Therefore, in this ratio, which is not, as the Gemara is saying, the ratio just wasn't as pashut as you made it sound. Because it could have been explained in a way, the Sefer could have been explained in a way where the ratio would have been misunderstood. Therefore, it needs to be clear, and by saying in the ratio that he agrees that it's pigul when you do kamitza and have intent during the kamitza to burn the kamitza l'machar, he wants it to be clear when he says that that is pigul, to tell you that you shouldn't assume that I hold of the din of ein pigul l'chatzi matir. Right? Therefore, again, it comes out that by the levona there's no pigul. By the kamitza there will be pigul. So again, we've already explained the reason, but the Gemara needs to actually explain the reason. So why exactly is there pigul by the case of the kamitza and not by the levona? We already said this is part of the mincha and this is not. Says the Gemara. What?
Even if you only have a chatzi matir.
That's what I'm saying. Even if you still have chatzi matir, it's still no. He agrees for sure it's pasul.
Right.
But the question was chatzi matir. We assume maybe chatzi matir couldn't be pigul. We're saying no. He holds that chatzi matir can be pigul. One of the two can be pigul. I.e., then means that there's another reason why the levona is not pigul. It's not because of that reason. There's another reason which we'll see. That one matir cannot be mefagel another matir. Very interesting. One matir cannot be mefagel another matir. One matir cannot do pigul for another matir. That means what? If I have intent during one of the two spoonfuls, let's just work with the second case. You have two spoonfuls of lavona that are coming with the lechem apanim. So if during one of the two spoonfuls, again, what are you doing with those spoonfuls? You're removing them. What?
Are these the loving spoonfuls?
These are loving spoonfuls. So if you take off the two spoonfuls, what do you do with them? You take them and you're going to burn them. I'm just going to pretend I know what you're talking about. We're going to take them and we're going to. Moish, I saw Moish pointing at you like I have no idea what you're talking about.
They were a great,
but it's fine.
Great rock group.
Okay, I'm just going to pretend that I know what you're talking about. Sure. Okay. I heard there's something called the television. I don't know about this. Okay. So if you go ahead and you, it's like when guys come on to me, oh, you know my friend in the Bay. Of course I know your friend in the Bay. No problem. Oh, sorry, he died 7 years ago. Oh, yeah. So when you have the two spoonfuls of whatever they're called over there, whatever you're referring to, the rock band, when you take the two spoonfuls and you burn them on the mizbeach, so what happens if during the taking of one spoonful, you go ahead and you have intent that I'm going to burn the other spoonful tomorrow. So during part of the avoda, which is burning one of the spoonfuls, I have in mind, l'shem yichud kutsha, I'm going to burn the other spoonful tomorrow. So what happens? So each spoonful is what? Each spoonful is considered to be a separate entity. And therefore what? Therefore, you can't have pigul with one matir for another matir. That means each one of these spoonfuls separately is considered to be matiring what? Matiring the lechem apanim to be eaten. So, ein matir mefagel es matir, this matir, having wrong intention during this matir, i.e. taking this spoonful off, having wrong intention about this matir, the other spoonful, cannot ruin it. Now again, I'm still not going to be able to eat the lechem apanim. It doesn't matter, but it's not going to be considered to be pigul. That's what the Gemara says. So now what are we doing over here? What are we going over here? Ein matir mefagel es matir. What am I doing? During this matir, the taking off of the kamitza, to ultimately burn the kamitza, that's one matir. Again, we're not talking about, but you need both matirs at this time. This is a separate discussion. During this matir, I have pigul to do what? To ruin another matir, i.e. what? The lavona. Which is why, going back to the Reisha now, if during this matir of taking off the kamitza, I have intent to burn this matir, the kamitza, tomorrow, right? Or to eat this flour and oil from which I'm taking the kamitza tomorrow, which is not a matir. But if I have intent to ruin this matir, because this still has to be burnt, it's going to be pigul. Because matir can be mefagel, the same matir. But if during this matir, what?
Mefagel?
Mefagel is pigul.
Oh,
yeah, sorry. But if during this matir of taking off the kamitza, which is only one matir, I have in mind to ruin the other matir, which is what? Which is the burning of the lavona, one intent during this matir cannot ruin the intent during this matir. Just like having the wrong intent during taking this spoonful cannot ruin if I have intent during this spoonful to say, when I take the other spoonful, I'm not going to take it till tomorrow, I'm not going to burn it till tomorrow. This intent during this spoonful cannot ruin the intent during this spoonful, because they're both considered to be matirs. I need both of them to be able to eat the lechem apanim. I need both the burning of the kamitza and the burning of the lavona to be able to go ahead and eat the korban. So again, even though I'm going to ruin it here, and I'm not going to be able to ultimately eat the korban, I'm not going to be over the isser of pigul because I have the wrong intent during the taking of the kamitza for another matir, and that I can't be over pigul for. Ein matir mefagel es matir. Having the wrong intent during one matir cannot go ahead and ruin another matir. It can't be pigul. But again, in the case where I took off the kamitza and I have the wrong intent to eat the leftovers tomorrow, that's pigul. Because that's not one matir for another matir. Eating the things tomorrow is not a matir at all. Eating the things tomorrow is just doing an avoda. It's just eating the thing. or if I have during the taking of the kamitza to actually go ahead and burn that kamitza tomorrow, that's not one matir during another matir, that's the same matir. It's dafka when I have in mind one matir during another matir, having in mind the lavona during the kamitza, that's where, again, it's going to be usher, but it's not going to be pigul. That's his reasoning. My v'cheinata omer, why do you have to give me this example of the lavona, of the lechem apanim? Mahu detema taima de Rabbi Yossi belavona mishum delav mina de minchahi ava b'shnei bezike lavona de mina de hadarininu ema mefagle hadade kamash malan. So why do you need both examples? Because what might you have thought? Again, this is a Havamina, that's why it's confusing this Gemara, because we keep having Havaminas and rejecting them. The Havamina, what you would have thought is that the reason that that the Lavona is not an issue when I have the wrong intent during the taking of the Kamitza about the Lavona has nothing to do with one Matir being Matir, another Matir, one Matir being Mefag, another Matir. What's the reason that Lavona is not an issue, that is not going to be Pigul? Because this is flour and oil, and that's spices, which is not what he said in the Mishnah, right? In the Mishnah he said it's not part of the korban. We're not even there yet. We're not even up to that yet. That's going to be the next discussion, minha mincha. We're not even up to that. Here, that's not exactly what he said in the Mishnah, right? The Gemara is going to eventually ask in just a second, at the end of the day, we have to, right? We went to Rabbi Yossi and we asked him, we have evidence, which is admissible in court, of what did Rabbi Yossi say out of his mouth. And we're going to have to fit in whatever we decide the final conclusion of what Rabbi Yossi was saying. We'll have to fit it in with what came out of his mouth. What came out of his mouth? We're going to have to explain that, but we haven't explained what Eina Mena Mincha is yet. But whatever we decide, we've rejected what his reason is. But right now we've assumed the reason by Lavona that it's not going to be a problem at this point in the Gemara, the reason for Lavona that it's not a problem is because one matir cannot be mefagel another matir. We'll have to explain what Eino Mena Mincha means according to that. The Gemara is saying, what do you have to tell me v'chein by the case of what? You have to tell me v'chein by the lechem apanim as well. Because what might you have thought? You might have thought that the reason that Rabbi Yossi doesn't say pigul by the case of the lavona, by the kamitza, is not because it's a din that what? One matir cannot be mefagel another matir. What's the reason? Because the lavona is different than this. The lavona is what? The lavona is lavona. And this is flour and oil. The lav mina de minchahi. It's not the same ingredients. But by the shnei bezike lavona, that what? When I take off this spoon, which is lavona, and I have intent this spoon, which is lavona, even though two separate spoons, it's the same ingredients. So there it would be pigul. Kamash malan. Rabbi Yossi needs to say, no, my reasoning is not based on what? It's not based on what the ingredients are. If it's not based on what the ingredients are, what's it based on, Rabbi Yossi? It's based on whether one matir can be mefagel another matir. If that's true, then I'm going to say, well, one matir cannot be mefagel another matir. Therefore, over here, just like when I take out the kamitza, if I have intention the lavona, it's going to go ahead and not be pigul. So too over there, when I take out one spoon, even though I'm taking out or having intention another spoon which has the same ingredients, it's not about ingredients for me. It's about the fact that when I take out this spoon, I'm having intention about another matir. When you take out one matir and you have intention about another matir, it doesn't ruin it, and therefore it's not pigul. It's not a din in the ingredients. So right now we're back to where we said. The reason for Rabbi Yossi is that one matir cannot be mefagel, cannot cause pigul on another matir. And we have that both by the lechem apanim and by our case of the korban mincha. So now the Gemara says, Umi matzis amratz. Now the Gemara is really pushing, saying, no, maybe the real reason by Rabbi Yossi is that what? Is that it has to do with ingredients. And that fits in with our sefer. How is it different than a zevach? Again, the Gemara is basically saying at this point, I don't understand. If you're telling me that the reason that it's not pigul in the lechem apanim case, and more importantly for us in this case, so how do you explain Rabbi Yossi? At the end of the day, you're saying to me that Rabbi Yossi agrees that what? When I take out the kamitza with the intent to burn the kamitza lamachar, that's what? That's one matir having intention about the same matir, that's going to be pigul. When I take out the kamitza with the intent to eat the leftovers tomorrow, that's going to be pigul because it's one matir having intention, not about another matir having intention to eat the thing tomorrow. But it's not going to be a problem when I take out this and I have intention to burn the lavona, because that's having intention one matir for another matir. How do you explain? How does that fit in with the words over which he says eina mina mincha? What does that have to do with matirs and being mefagel of the matirs? It doesn't sound like the right thing. Says the Gemara, no, I'll tell you what eina mina mincha means. It means something else. My eina mina mincha, eina be'ikuv mincha. that the levona is not be'ikuv mincha. What does that mean? De lav ki hechi de ma'akev lehu kometz l'shirayim de kama de la miskater kometz lo mis'asche shirayim hachanami ma'akev lo levona. You might think that. Ela ibai hay makter bereisha v'ibai hay makter bereisha. Therefore, that's the chiddush. What's the chiddush of eina min mincha? That the levona is eina min mincha. It's not be'ikuv mincha. What would you have thought? We have to do two things here. We need to take off the kamitza, fine, and then right now, the kamitza is in the klishares, and the levona is on top of the mincha. Now it's in the klishares. We have two klishares in front of us. We have the kamitza and the levona. What do we do now? We burn both of them. Which one comes first? Eina min mincha, according to Rabbi Yossi. Eino ikuv min mincha. It doesn't matter. Whichever one you want. You want to burn the levona first? Gesundheit, go burn the levona first. You want to go burn the kamitza first? Gesundheit, go burn the kamitza first. You got to burn both of them. You want to eat this? This is your goal? Supper? You got to burn these two things. Which one you burn first? Rabbi Yossi says, Eina min mincha. It doesn't matter. Now the chiddush over here is that obviously his answer is not really explaining why he doesn't hold pigul over there. But he's saying eina min mincha, since it's going to be ma'akev, it sounds like. Since it's going to be ma'akev, but again, what? Ma'akev means to hold back. It's going to cause it to hold back. So we're going to say neither one of these is ma'akev. Whichever one you choose first, that's what the chiddush of eina min mincha is. But again, he's not talking, it sounds like his response is not necessarily talking about why there's no pigul in the case. So again, it comes out right now, according to Rabbi Yossi, that the reason that there's no pigul by the levona is because ein matir echad mifagel another matir. And eina min mincha is teaching us a separate halacha that when you have two things here, you can burn either one of them when you want, but they both have to be burnt. Rabbanan ki amrinan ein matir mifagel es matir. And the Rabbanan, when you say that one matir is not mifagel a matir, so now the Rabbanan are agreeing. The Rabbanan agree with this concept that if you have one matir, it's not pigul on another matir. So what's the problem? So over here again, the Rabbanan seem to agree by the case of lechem apanim. By lechem apanim, if I have the wrong intent about this spoonful while I'm doing this spoonful, it's not pigul. But over here, rabbis, so then why in this case, by the kamitza, are you telling me that if I have the wrong intent by the levona while doing the kamitza, I'm going to ruin it? That's the same exact case. It says, no, there's one difference between the lechem apanim and here. What's the difference? Not the ingredients. Look at the bowl. What do you have here? You have a bowl of flour, oil, and levona. It's all one big mush, even though it's on top and set aside. It's one bowl. Therefore, it's considered to be one bowl. We don't say, ein matir mefagel etz matir, and therefore, if you have the wrong intent about the levona, in our case, you're going to ruin it. But by lechem apanim, when you look at it, if you freeze, you have two different spoons. They might be the same ingredients, but they're two separate entities. If it's two separate entities, if I have the intention about one matir, which is a separate entity, from this matir, which is a separate entity, then ein matir mefaglen es matir. That's the chiddush, and that's the difference between the two cases. Hani miliechid lo ikvu b'chad mana. Over there, by the case of lechem apanim, they're not in the same vessel. It's two separate spoonfuls. Therefore, one matir cannot ruin or make pigul on the other matir. And over here, avalecha de ikvu b'chad mana kechad dami. But over here, where it's all mixed, flour, oil, and levona in one box, or in one klishares, then even though you're having intention about one matir, i.e. the levona, during the other matir, the taking of the kamitza, it's still going to go ahead and ruin everything, and you're going to be over pigul according to Rabbanan.
The kamitza and the levana are going to be separated ultimately because you're putting into klishares.
Right, but right now, everything's together, and you're having the pigul right now while I'm taking out the kamitza. That's why it specifically gives an example of doing the kamitza during this time. So if they're having pigul during this time. So during this time, if I have pigul during this time, then I'm going to be chayav. Amar v'yanai, likut levona bizar is pasul. If a zar comes ahead and takes the levona, then it's going to be a problem. So what happens is interesting. Rashi says, I thought we just said that it doesn't matter when it's burnt, but okay. It says it might be that lechatchila we burn the komets first and then the levona, but the chiddush was that if you don't burn the komets first, so then it would be okay. You wouldn't ruin it. Right. But not what? That's what the chiddush is, right? So the Gemara is, because we just said if you have the komets and the levona here, you can burn either one. But the point is that I think lichatchila, you take off the komets, you put in the klisharis, you burn it. Then you take off the levona, you put in the klisharis, and you burn it. But the chiddush of eina min mincha, I think, was that if you go ahead and you burn the levona first, you're not going to ruin it. just has to be burnt. So says the Gemara, now you have liku levona bizarre pasel. So what happens? So you take the, again, kamitza, you take the kamitza, you put in the klisharis, you burn it. Now you have to take the levona and you have to burn it. So if a zar, if a non-Kohen, seemingly a Kohen should be doing it, if a non-Kohen takes off the levona, then that's going to be a problem. If he takes it off, it's going to be pasel. Rashi says that he takes it off and he burns it as well. Yeah.
Do we say kamitza is equivalent to the shkita?
That's what we said the whole time. Yeah.
That's what we say.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah. Why does that? But that doesn't come in yet. So now we're going to talk about the likut. What's the equivalent of the likut? We said the kamitza is the shchita, the placing in the klishares is the kabbalah, the walking to the thing is the holacha, and the burning of the kamitza is the haktara. But what's the taking of the levona off? Taking of the levona and putting it into klishares is seemingly the same as the kamitza and putting it into the klishares. That would probably be, that would either be holacha if he walks it, or seemingly that would be the equivalent of kabbalah bedam, right? The equivalent of putting the kamitza in the klishares, you would say putting the levona in the klishares. There's no kamitza here. Putting the levona in the klishares seemingly would be kabbalah as well, as we'll see in just a second.
Is the touching it to the mizbeach zrika? Is that the zrika part?
That's the last part. That's the.
When you actually touch it, you have to. Touch
when you put it down, when you put it down on the fire. So says the Gemara, my time. Why is it asher bizarre if he does the likud of the levona? Mishum holacha naguba. It's a din in the holacha. What's the din in the holacha? It sounds like it's within the avoda of holacha. Again, as we'll see in a second, Gemara it's just actually within the din of Kabbalah. Right now, we're assuming that what's he doing is taking the levona, putting it into a klisharis, and then walking it to the mizbech. So he's doing something during the holacha. Says the Gemara, Kasavar holacha shelo beregel shma holacha v'holacha bezar psula. Gemara is assuming that we may even be talking about a case where the zar doesn't actually walk it over. What does he do? He takes the levona, puts it in the klisharis, and then hands it to a kohen. So over there, he never actually walked. And yet the Gemara is considering it to be holacha. Because maybe one can suggest that just by handing it from one to the next, like in an assembly line, that would be holacha as well. Says the Gemara of Mary, Afan Anami Tanina Zeh Klal. This is what Gershon was saying. Kol HaKometz. Kometz is one, that's the shchita. V'notein Bekli, that's the Kabbalah. Molech is the halacha. Makdir is the zrika. Bishlam HaKometz hainu shchita molech nami hainu molech makdir hainu zorek elanosim Bekli mai ka'avid. The question is, if you're going to compare the Kabbalah to the placing of the kamitza and here the levona into a kli, it's not exactly the same. It's not the same. What happens by the Kabbalah, by the dam? It's passive. You go ahead and you take it and you hold the kli underneath it and it drips in there. Over here you're actually actively taking the kamitza or taking the levona and putting it into a kli. This is what says the Gemara, very, very interesting. That over there, since it's an essential part of the service, we're suggesting that just like over there, it's an essential part of the service, again, by the Kabbalah of the dam, and you need it. Therefore, we're going to go ahead and we're going to consider it like Kabbalah. We're going to address it in a second, but we're basically saying that even though it's not exactly the same, it's an important part of the service, and therefore we're going to consider it to be part of the voda. Lola olam dedami lekabbalah. We're saying it's not like halacha, it's like Kabbalah. At the end of the day, again, putting the kometz into the klishares, taking the levona, putting it into the klishares is like Kabbalah. It's not exactly the same. One is passive and one is active. Says the Gemara, la'olam dedami lekabbalah dekakasha chasam memela hacha kashaka v'rami michtei tarvayu kedushas kliu mali memela mali kashaka v'rami. The Gemara says, who cares? Who cares if one is passive and one is active? Both of them are in essence what? Being mekadesh the object by putting it into a klishares. Who cares if I'm mekadesh it passively by holding a klishares underneath the dam? Who cares if I'm mekadesh it actively by placing the kamitza into a klishares, by placing the levona into a klishares? And therefore it sounds like the Gemara concludes that a zar who takes the levona and places it in a klishares, what's the problem? Is that he's doing one of the avodas. What avodah is he doing? One wanted to argue he's doing halacha, and it is possible, again, that he'll end up getting to that point where he does halacha. But the Gemara says that he's doing Kabbalah. Kabbalah is not exactly like Kabbalah Dam. You're right. One of them is passive, one of them is active. But again, it comes out that a zar who does the taking of the levona and putting it into a klishares is pasol. It pasels the thing. Why? Because he's doing the equivalent of the Kabbalah. It's not exactly like Kabbalah Dam. It doesn't matter. It's being makdish, the dam, it's being makdish here, the kamitza and the levona. So a zar, as he said, Rabbi Yanai, liku levona bizar is pasul. When he goes out and he takes the levona and he puts it into a klisharis, it's pasul. Just like if he would take the kamitza, even if he didn't do the kamitza, if he would actually take it from the kohen tent and put it into the klisharis, it would be pasul. Both of them are pasul because one of the four essential avodos, i.e. the Kabbalah, is being done by a zar. Now if he went ahead and he then took it and walked it to the mizbeach or even passed it to the kohen, which is halacha not beregel, then he would be doubling. I mean, it's possible anyway. But then he would, again, for another reason, be passing this mincha, not only al Kabbalah, but al halacha as well. But that's the reason why, if he takes a zar, he takes a levona and puts it in the klisharis, is passel. The thing he's passeling, if I ask you the basic understanding, he's passeling it because of the fact that he's doing Kabbalah, and the Kabbalah needs to be done by a kohen.
I thought halacha is not ma'akev.
So maybe that's why. Maybe it came out in the same.
Because he doesn't have to. He can just. He can be
we
close
said
enough
that he could be close enough, right?
enough.
That's what we said.
It was not me'akev, so how would he be double puzzle?
Okay, maybe not. The Gemara doesn't say double puzzle. I said that, so maybe I'm wrong. That's why I'm not the Gemara. The Gemara though says that Kabbalah. The Gemara says again that the reason that the zar is ruining it is because of Kabbalah. Zak the Mishnah. We're just going to get to the bottom of the daf here. Shachat, and we have a lot to do tomorrow. So come early. Shachat shnei kevasim lechol achas min achalos l'machar. Hikter shnei bezikin lechol echad min astarim l'machar. Rabbi Yotzim also achal v'oso aseder shechisha l'pigol v'cheron olav kares. V'asheni pasol ve'im bo kares. Chamerum zev v'zeh pigol v'cheron olav kares. Zak the Gemara. No. Okay, the Mishnah says that if you shach two kevasim to eat one of the chalos l'machar. So what are we doing here? This is a little bit different. Now we're talking about something else. We spoke just now about the fact that you have pigul intention during one of the avodos, i.e. during the kamitza, have pigul intention about the levona. We said if you have pigul intention about the burning of the kamitza, even Rabbi Yossi agrees it's pigul. Because one matir, it's one matir. But over here, if I have intention during the kamitza about the levona, that's one matir cannot be mefagil another matir. That's Rabbi Yossi. Chachamim say no. I hold one matir can be mefagil another matir when it's coming from the same kli, which is our case. So now we have the case over here, which is the lechem apanim, which right away doesn't have the problem of pigul being of one matir being mefagil another matir, because what? Because we're dealing with two different things. And even in the case of the shtei lechem, what do you have? Now you have a case where you're shechting an animal, or you're shechting two animals. How does it work? By the shtei lechem on Shavuos, if you want to eat the korban shtei lechem, which is made out of wheat, which is why, again, on Pesach, the korban omer is out of barley, and on Shavuos is out of wheat. After the Sfiras HaOmer, you're able to refine ourselves and go from being barley, which is food for behemoths, to being wheat, which is food for Adam. That's a shkafic discussion. So over here, what's happening? You have the shtei lechem, which is a korban of Shavuos, these two breads. You want to eat them. How do you eat them? Well, first you have to do what? First you need a matir. What's the matir on Shavuos? The shachting of the two kevasim, and then taking them and burning and doing the zrika of the blood and burning whatever, and then you could eat the meat of the kevasim, and you can go ahead and you could eat the shtei lechem. So what do we see over here? Shachat shnei kevasim, but when you did the shchita, the matir, what did you have in mind? Lechol achas min achalos l'machar. You had in mind to eat one of the chalos tomorrow. Now over here, that's not a din of pigul. That's not one matir over another matir. The eating of the chalos l'machar is not a matir. That's the actual eating. That's the equivalent of what? The eating of the mincha, which we said everybody, even Rabbi Yossi agrees what? That's going to be a problem of pigul. So over here you have intention to go ahead and eat one of the chalos l'machar. Now you only had intention here about one of the chalos. So the question that we're going to have here, of course it's pigul on that chala. The question is it pigul on both chalas? Now, seemingly you can't eat either one of the chalas. Again, there's a difference between pigul and being pasul. Seemingly you can't eat either one of the chalas. The question is, were you over two piguls or were you over one pigul? So hikter shnei bezikin, again, where you burn the bezikin, both of them, but you had in mind lachol echad min hastarim l'machar, while doing the burning of the bezikin, which you did right. It's not a din that you had pigul during the levona. You had pigul during the burning now, and the pigul was to eat one of the two groups of 6 loaves of bread at the wrong time. So the question is, did you ruin both loaves or not? Says Rabbi Yossi Omer, Oso achala ve'oso aseder shechisha alav pigul v'chayav and alav kares v'asheni pasol ve'emo kares. He says you could split up. Only one, you only can be over a pigul once. For the second set of bread, or for the second of the 2 shtei lechem, you're not going to be over pigul. You can't eat it, but you're not going to be over pigul twice. Again, you had intention during the avoda of the shchita, or the avoda of the burning of the bezikin, of the spoons, the levona, you had intention for only to ruin one of the 2 shtei lechem, only one of the 2 sets of lechem upon him. So there he says you only over pigul once. Shechayav for pigul twice. Says Gemara, Amar Afuna. We'll have to see exactly what this means and how could he be chayav kares twice and who cares? Amar Afuna, Omer Rabbi Yossi. Pigel b'yerach shel yamin lo nispagel yeresh shmol. So what's Rabbi Yossi's svara? That if you have intention to be mefagel, to do pigul on one of the two loaves, or one of the two sets of lechem abanim, what's the svara that you're only going to be over pigul once? Because he says, I'll give you a precedent. If you go ahead and you have pigul, if you have in mind to be pigul on the right thigh, so the left thigh is not pigul. That means if I have pigul intent regarding, while I'm doing the avodah, I had pigul intent to eat the right thigh beyond the zman, I don't ruin the left thigh. I could still eat the left thigh at the right time. I could still eat the left thigh. So just like you see over here, if I have pigul intent about one set of challahs, I shouldn't ruin the other set. Now again, he's not saying you shouldn't ruin it. You still ruin it, but you shouldn't be over pigul. Says Gemara, my time. Ibai say mesvara, ibai say makray. It's a svara and a kran, and we'll pick up tomorrow. Ibai say mesvara, lo adifa machshava mimaisa tuma. Ilu it mechad aver mi it melei kulei. Now obviously we're talking about when the aver is separated. If you have two avarim that are separated from an animal, and one of them becomes tamei, what happens to the other aver? Does it become tamei? No, it's separate. So over here, just because I do pigul on one aver, why should it be as if I did pigul on both avers? That's the svara that he gives from tuma. V'ibay say makra, and then he gives from a crop. What does he say? The nefesh who's eating it is going to have an avona. Mimenu v'lo mechavero. Only if I eat from it am I going to have an avon and not from its friend. Only if I eat one of this, only if I eat this lechem apanim, this set of lechem apanim, only if I eat this specific of the two shtei lechem, only then am I going to have a problem. If I eat the other one, it's not going to be pigul. It's going to be pasa, but it's not going to be pigul. Eser Rav Nachman le Ravuna. It's a new thing we'll pick up here tomorrow.